Right. Man, I gotta stop doing that. Every time that starts recording, you hear me at the beginning of these things. All right. Like it's a big, technology breakthrough that I was able to turn on the recording. Oh well. So Eric, we were talking earlier in the week and just gonna warm up so Eric can remember this, not catching him on the fly here. we had a good Toronto meetup on last Thursday. I think it was last Thursday, right?
Yeah. Your sale.
Wow, felt like yesterday. Went down there. I showed up in a blizzard and it was over before I almost got to the side of the building. But it was enough to get soaking wet. But we had a good meetup. Hey, Manu, how are you, sir? We had a good meetup, and we're 6 of us, and we grabbed a late lunch and grabbed some coffees, and we're just kind of talking and sharing updates and whatnot. And Rob Manny and Eric had met earlier. They're working, collaborating together, which is really good to see. And they shared with me what they were working on. Then we kind of like shared it with a different group. And Eric, I don't know if you need more of a tee off than that. Is that enough? You want me to keep going?
No. I mean, and listen, I'm happy to jump in and you give me the hook when you want me to stop talking, because I'm an old sales guy. It can take 15 minutes to say hello sometimes, right? So no, Rob and I have been working on something. We don't have a name yet, but it's around accelerating deals in the pipeline. So increasing ROI, increasing revenue, increasing sales by bringing things in quicker in terms of the current pipeline. And it came on the back because we have complementary practices, but we want to work together to see if we can work with the same client, use it as a door opener. And if it leads to a project for him more on the CRM side, terrific. If it leads to a project for me more on the sales effectiveness side, or maybe hopefully for both. But what we're doing is we're crafting, and we're meeting tomorrow to kind of put more meat on the bones. But something short and tight that says, is it 3? Is it 4 weeks? Is it 2 weeks? I don't know. But let's look at your data, and either we'll look at your deals, wins, losses, and current opportunities, and reverse engineer what's working or not, or more look at the systems, the data, and how you're coaching your people, and go in there, assess what's going on, come up with recommendations, and then in the recommendations, some crunchy things like some quick wins that the client can look at to immediately impact and shorten their sales cycle. Because the basic math says, look, if you've got a team of 7 people, you can look at it 2 ways. Like everyone says, I want more salespeople. Well, you can increase sales productivity by about 15% across your team. So instead of the average 60% quota, maybe 75% quota each. It's like a whole nother salesperson right there. No extra. The same thing is if you reduce your sales cycle from, say, 12 months to 10 months, right? It's about a 15% improvement. You're getting 15% more sales just by shortening your sales cycle. And I think every decision maker I've talked to would happily do that, because there's not a lot of cost of sales in doing that, right? And once you start doing it, it becomes repetitive. So basically what we're doing that, we're meeting tomorrow to really put a little bit formality around it. And then the idea is we're going to go out and use it in anger, and just in a good way, and just kind of provoke and try to get people thinking about it and saying, look, there are ways for us to come in quickly, easily, roll up our sleeves in a really hands-on way, not grow roots and be here for the next year, but really look at one aspect of your revenue model, which is the length of sales cycle, and can you reduce that for impact? And then if that's something you need help on, great. This is what we do. And Rob and I are doing it together because I have the sales effect and the sales strategy side, and he has the CRM and RevOps side, and the two kind of come in. They're so intertwined, right? So data, process, people. So anyway, that's what we're doing. It came off the back of another colleague of ours. I did the same thing. He's a marketing expert, and what we did is we put together a lead offer that says, let us come in and help you as you look at next year's plan and look at the marketing to sales alignment. The leads that are getting created, are they being created in the right way? Are they being actioned in the right way? Why can sales close them or not close them? What do they need from marketing? Is the investment and the spend, and the ROI there, and things like that. So anyway, that's what we're experimenting with, and we'll get something finalized in the next week or two before the break, and then in January we're going to come out and promote it, and likely we're going to try to do an event like a LinkedIn Live or something to get a whole bunch of decision makers around the table and say, look, you know what, it doesn't have to be really, really hard. It can be, if you get the right people coming in who do this, we can partner with you and come up with some really crunchy wins that can help you bring your deals in faster, right? That's the premise.
I like it. Thanks for sharing that, Eric. I appreciate it. So there's a couple of things I really liked about it. We've been talking about getting a foot in the door through an assessment and other mechanisms. What's that in first purchase decision that can lead into other things. So that's not unusual here, but I like that Eric and Rob kind of started partnering together to mesh an assessment together to bring both their skills to the table. I thought that was really smart. And then they're going to go out. You can double your reach from Eric combining with Rob's target audience, and then kind of expand on that a bit. I thought that was really helpful. And then we started around the table, like we had Jessica, who's a CFO, a fractional CFO. We had, trying to remember who was there. We had Eden that was there in her marketing, and Rob, and who else was there? Am I missing? Oh, Ali was there from efficiency, from processes and processes improvement and engineering. We started looking at ways that, what if we all had assessments and we can line those up together? And what that does is it just kind of enables you to, we got to know each other really well in terms of what our specialties were, and then kind of got creative. We kind of did this a little experiment with one of the member marketing meetings. Is reach out. How can you collaborate with the people? But I like that. When I came up on Eric and Rob, they had notes going on. The ideas were flying back and forth, and they were really working on that symmetry from the client's perspective in terms of what it would benefit. So I thought it was really helpful and worth sharing with the rest of the group. And I kind of, like Dorothy, you, Marta, and I, we pitched together on an RFP. We had to kind of shoot, how the heck do we fit together as a pseudo team for this RFP? And that was interesting. Definitely got a deep dive in what you guys do and try to fit a story together on that. So there's been others that have done that, but has anybody else got any good stories in terms of collaborating with somebody else as a lead-in opportunity? If not, it's okay. We can go on. Go ahead, Martha.
It's not really an opportunity in terms of to a client-facing position. It's actually more of the value exchange that we talked about, a good 6 months ago. So Christina and I have been doing a value exchange, and we're just about wrapping up, I think, right, Christina? Mm-hmm. We're getting there. It's taken us a little longer than anticipated, but you know what? It's fine. We're working at our rhythm based on the fact that it is for our own companies. So I just wanted to highlight the fact that should still be on the table between us as peers to, really show our value to each other, highlight our skills. And it's great because you get that honest feedback from a peer too, right? It lowers a little bit of that expectation of, okay, this is a client and, I have to excel 110%. It just takes that veil off a little, I would say. And I think you present yourself the best way you can, you do your best work. So I think in the end, there's a lot of learning that comes out of that, especially because your peer will give you that feedback.
Can you explain a little bit more of the details of it? Like this, what is the swap of service? How did you guys instigate? How did you guys start it? Where did it go to?
Sure. Well, I'll explain my side and I'll let Christina do her side because I'm sure she'll do a much better job than I would. Christina reached out to me asking if I would be interested in doing a value exchange of our services. She was looking to not really rebrand our company in a sense, rename, which is in a sense, it's more of a refresh than a rebrand. She's still doing the same products and services that she offers. So I said, sure, I'm happy to help you. Let's go through the process. And in exchange, she was going to offer me, Christina, over to you.
So we sort of stepping back. So and I had just thought, as I was saying, like I knew I needed to rebrand my company and I knew I needed, or sort of brand my company and have a logo design, and just meeting Marta through this. And I was just very impressed by what she spoke about and her style. And I thought we could work well together. And since I felt that there could be a need on both sides, I had reached out to her. So for me, the ask of Marta was helping with the logo and the brand name. And then my offer, because my focus for business is Google Ads, sort of 80% of the work, as well as SEO and AI search. And so for her website, I put it into my tools and I called out all the sort of errors and warnings, or just errors and warnings that I found there. And so not only did I bring those up, but then I actually went into the back end and helped kind of fix some of those errors. And then also worked with her web developer to resolve some of the other technical opportunities there. And then we spoke about a paid ads proposal that potentially we might explore in the future. So we sort of tried to estimate it based on kind of the number of hours that both of us would be committing. And then, as Marta said, obviously you have your paying clients as well. And so things on both ends probably do take a little bit longer, but yeah, I think on both of our ends, and not to speak for Marta, I think it's been a really great experience, because you get to know someone through these sessions, but once you sort of work one-on-one, you get to know the style, you get to know what they deliver, their impact, and just can really speak truly if you have a client that has that particular need about what it would be like to work with that person. So
I used to do that a lot, like back when I first started in business period. My dad had a magazine publishing company, and they had barter exchange companies like that acted like a bank that you would literally exchange barter. Like you could purchase on barter something other than, like, it wasn't a direct swap all the time. So it was interesting. So what I did it for myself initially is I had a lady that would do financial accounting and whatnot. She needed a new website. So we did a swap of service. She did my accounting every year. I did a website, rebranded it a couple of times, kept it up to date. And it was just like, we just kind of tracked hours to hours. We charged the same, we kind of decided on the same hourly rate for each other, and it worked really well. I'm trying to think if I've done that with anybody else. But so Marta reminded me about that. And we did like a mini one. And it was nice because I got some candid feedback from her to help me give me some direction. And then I had a conversation with Christina, got some more candid feedback, and I've been working on those two things going forward. So those are great ways to work together. I think it's great to have a community like this, that we can do that. Anybody else have any other examples? No? Okay, that's good. I mean, it's good. Thanks, Derek. I appreciate that. And how many, Dorothy, I know and you use assessments all the time. You got some right on your site, if I can remember, that you can refer people to, kind of like a kickoff, right?
Yeah, it's more of an intake form where I get some background information on what it is that they want. But for my personal website, I have a quiz that I will be using as a touch point.
I like that. And is it going to give responses, or
yeah. And I've used quizzes before, right? I'm a student of Ryan Levesque. I don't know if a lot of you know Ryan Levesque. So I've gone through his program, everything. So I'm going to be using a quiz for my personal site.
So what's the program? What's the rent? I don't want to try to pronounce that again.
He sold the business. It used to be the Ask Method company. So his thing is about asking first to understand. His whole premise is around taking the message from the market and not from your mind. And so the quiz primes that up. It tees up what it is that people really want. So there's a whole methodology to that around all the questions, numbers of questions, the reports that you spit back out. And then you use that as your lead magnet. So that's but I'm not using that. I'm not going to use that program anymore. So I'm going to simplify that, because that's kind of can be a friction point too. And the tool too became very expensive. I mean, and I wasn't using it very often. So, but I'm still going to use the whole concept of the quiz.
Oh, I like that. That's a good learning lesson. I think that's just understanding what clients see your services as, and what the needs are, and asking them first. That's interesting, without trying to prime them. I like that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. Any other stuff? So a couple of things. So we're wrapping up the year. And if you have another one, I gave a whole half a second for you to think about that and respond. So I'm not trying to push the conversation on. I'm really not. But I was trying to think. Oh, Martha's got one. Okay, go ahead. No, different.
No. I want you to finish. Sorry, I don't want to interrupt you.
I was just gonna, like, it's the end of the year. It's wrapping up. I was thinking about, like you do at the end of the year, what the heck did I actually accomplish this year? And I was going through stuff, my head. And I was like, holy cow, I did a lot of stuff. I didn't realize all the stuff I did. And I thought it'd be nice to share a couple of insights. You know, where's your head going for next year? You know, and just looking back, what you did that was kind of unique. So I'll start. You know, for one, I put a lot of focus on myself to describe myself, right? I used to call it, so I simplified my opener. So now I say I simplify businesses with technology for happier customers and happier teams and customers. So I kind of took that whole digital transformation out of it. I don't know if it was bothering me more than it was bothering everybody else. I just felt like it was just a big mouthful of things. And I felt, and the conversation with Marta and Christina kind of like unveiled that. And you know, sometimes when you see the whites in their eyes, like people just kind of a little confused when you're explaining yourself. So I've been working on that. Is it perfected? Absolutely not. But I've been trying to narrow down what my messaging is, and just working on that. I mean, it was probably the first time I'd done that in a long time, so that was good. And on this networking side, if you guys remember, this is the first time I went to a paid model. I was like really at wit's end at the end of 2024. It was successful in that we had lots of people coming all the time, but it was really chewing a lot of my time, and it was really making me evaluate the return on that investment of my time. And you know, it was a real struggle because I really enjoyed getting into these type of conversations, but it had strong, like the last couple of calls, we had 50 plus people on the call. It became more transactional, the type of people that, you know, because I was terrible as a qualifier, you know, letting everybody in and their brother because I just felt bad for them, you know, and like I just couldn't say no. That's just me. I was a terrible qualifier, right? So took time over the holidays and invested in a system, went full out, said I'm going to pay for the full year. Not just because of the discount, guys. That's not only the savings there. I was like, okay, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this for the full year, you know, regardless if anybody comes or not. And it's been a really good, like, I mean, it was a really good learning experience. It freed up a heck of a lot of my time. And then it helped me slowly, I didn't come right away, it helped me slowly get this thing back on to where I would get a lot of value out of it from meeting people that I could work with and can learn from, and like kind of filling in those gaps of things that when you're working from home, you're missing out on. So that was a real win for me. And you guys have seen, I spent some time on the weekend, you know, I made some slight changes, some modifications to next year, reducing the amount of meeting times that we have and going with two focuses. One is a meeting about what's going on in this B2B sector, that where we can share challenges, trends, wins, whatever, but it's sector related. And we're going to meet the first Tuesday of the month for that. I also changed the time to 1 from 3. I'm trying to get it around the lunch hour so it doesn't interrupt flow in the afternoon when you're working. And then the second meeting I'm going to have is going to be member updates. You know, so what's changing in your business? Is there a new business model, a new angle that you're doing, a new thing that you're doing? So it'll be all member related. And the goal of that one, so the first one's the goal is to keep it up to date on what the heck is going on in the industry, because more minds will be better than one. We can benefit from each other's knowledge. And the second one is, again, this idea of working together, it being able to collaborate and refer work on each other. So it's an intentional thing to keep up to date with what each of us are up to, right? That'll probably also spur on some innovation of our own, like when we hear other people doing different things. I think it'll do. So I'm going to go with those two, and they're going to be spaced out. One's going to be the first Tuesday of the month. The second's going to be the third Tuesday of the month. So they're a bit more spaced out. So hopefully less consuming on your calendars, but still opportunities to integrate together. So that was my year. Next year, what am I doing? I've still got some work to do over the holidays. I still got some fine tuning to do on what I'm offering, and I'm hoping some downtime will help me figure some of that out. Sorry, that was really long, but got a lot of stuff on the go. If you guys don't mind sharing, if I just kind of pick you randomly, and Marta, you're just right above me. I'm just gonna, you know, what any stuff. If you think back over the year, what changed over the year? And if you think right away, you'll probably say nothing. But if you think about it a little bit, I bet there's some key elements that you changed over the year. It'd be worth sharing.
Yeah, two things come to mind. But first, I want to shout out Manu. Nice haircut.
I was trying to figure out if that was a haircut or he had his hair pulled back, man.
I know. I just figured it out myself.
I cannot wear a hat and not worry about my hair being all over the place.
Yes, yeah. I can definitely relate to that.
It's great.
You're ready for the holidays.
I'm ready for Christmas. Yes.
I would say two things stand out for me. And this year I was able to really get my positioning of a strategy first designer shining a little more, which was very important with the help of some peers like Dorothy. And then working with other partners to, again, get that sort of out in the forefront. So I'm happy about that. And actually creating better partnerships too, so that you can collaborate a little better, having just a synergy where people know, I can go to them on a regular basis. It's, again, just forming better partnerships, I think has started to happen better for me this year. And then the last thing that I want to make note of, which is funny because it's at the end of the year, but it's still, I think, worth mentioning because I'd like to share with the group that I've started to mentor. And it's a program that's being offered through the Wilfrid Laurier. It's called the Startup Lab. I'm just starting, so this is going to be a very different experience, but I'm looking forward to it because not only is it a way of sort of giving back a little bit of what we know as professionals based on, how many ever years of experience you have, it's also a way to continue to learn, right? So like just learning from people who are pitching new products and services and starting out, and startups are one of my target audiences. That's why this interests me so much, because they typically need, of course, branding and that kind of service. So I'm looking forward to it. My first mentoring session will happen literally like this week, next week, and that project will kick off, and I'll keep you all posted. But I heard all about it through one of our members, through Jessica Ma, who's also a mentor. So I just, I thought, let me be open. It's not a huge time sucker, if I can call it that. It's just like 1 hour every couple of weeks. You're on a call like this, but you're listening, you're taking in information, you're providing feedback, guidance. There's what it seems like to me, a good exchange of information. You can also be part of a team. So that if you don't want to be just a lead mentor on your own, you can be, jump on with maybe two other professionals. And that's another opportunity to network, right? You get to know other professionals and get to see what are some of the new up and coming ideas coming out of there. Because you know what, I don't know about you guys. AI is great, but it's also a little scary. And I don't want to feel like everything's coming from AI. I want to hear real human ideas coming to life. And that's what the Startup Lab does, right? So those are my two things.
I think that's fantastic, Marta. Like a couple things on that. Don't discount what you know. And I think using Dorothy's method of asking what they want to, like, put a little bit of onus on the students. I'm assuming it's students that you're working with, or startup
students. Yeah,
students.
It is students.
Put a little. I do the same thing for McMaster for the MBA program and their undergrads as well. Ironically, for a teacher asked me to do it of a class that I really struggled with, so I have no idea why she asked me to do it. But ask first, get them to do some homework in terms of learning about you so they can ask you questions. But I think it's desperately needed for youth right now as the end of the market, especially with some remote work. They don't have the advantages of picking up those mentorships. So it's a good thing. Good job. And did somebody raise their, oh, Eric, go ahead, man.
Yeah, I know, it's just me. I love that, Marta. It's been a thing, an undercurrent for me too, is while I'm building the practice, is looking for ways to kind of give back. And I find it's sometimes it's hard to break through. So if you made some grounds at Wilfrid Laurier and they're looking for more resources and things like that, would love to chat offline, because I poked away at DMZ and I poked away at Mars and different places, and it's always like, it's kind of like it's a bus. If the bus is right there, you can get on, it's great timing, but then you got to wait for the next one depending on what they're doing. So yeah, I would love that. I love staying close to things, and I love the idea of just giving back and sharing knowledge and all that kind of stuff. So I'll send you a note to connect. I'd love to hear more about it, and if I can add some value in that program that you're now getting into, I think that's terrific. So
awesome.
And maybe a feedback after a few months too, Marta, would be awesome.
Yeah. Maybe I can give you one. Yeah, around February, March, I would say I should have.
Yeah. Rob, go ahead. Rob Lilly, the only Rob on the call. Let me double check.
Yes, just one this time. Yeah, makes it easier. Although we invite as many Robs as we can, so that's great. Yeah, it's a great question, Rich. I think I was just kind of thinking through it as you were talking. Not that I wasn't listening to what you were saying, but I was just trying to think of what things have changed over the year. And you're right. I thought, you know what? I don't feel like a lot's changed over the year. But then as you were continuing to speak more, I just realized there's a lot. Like, we do websites for a lot of agencies, which I enjoy doing, but I'm always kind of looking for the next thing that my agency should do, because, you know, doing websites might not be something that's going to always be around in the next, you know, 5-10 years or so. So something that's kind of always captured my heart is just figuring out other side hustles to be doing on the side. And as my team is taking over more of the responsibilities of the websites, it gives me a little bit more time to focus on what potential side hustles could be. So I'm a bit of an addict because I do spend a lot of money on side hustle gigs that people claim can do all of these things. And I've been doing it enough now that I can sort of see through the veil, and I can figure out now which ones are the crappy ones and which ones are going to be the better ones. So over the course of the year, it kind of inspired me to build a site. It's called Maverick Side Hustles. And what it does is it takes a bunch of courses about skills that you would need to do certain side hustles like SEO and certain kinds of marketing and dealing with autoresponders and all of those sorts of things. And then it matches them to side hustles that are actually workable side hustles, things that actually can earn money for people. Because my heart kind of went out to a lot of like just seeing what's happening in the economy, like just even where we are in Ontario and like north of Barrie. You know, as we're driving around, I'm seeing a lot more people on the streets. I'm hearing a lot more of people that are struggling with being able to make, being able to pay the bills. And there's a lot of people that don't have a lot of skills. And so if their regular jobs are not paying the bills or working out for them, or they're stuck, they're just not able to make more money. My heart just kind of went out to, okay, there are things online that people can do if they have the time and if they want to put the energy into it, and some cost as well. So what are those things, and just trying to match them together. So that was kind of my big project over this past year, and was able to launch about a month ago. But that wasn't something that I would normally be doing. I would be so focused on the business that I wouldn't have time for anything on the side. So it was nice to kind of get the team in a place where they could take over a bunch of things, so that I just had more spare time during the day to work on that kind of stuff. So like Marta, I'm always trying to learn. So I took a bunch of AI courses as well. That kind of led me in this direction.
I love
Sorry,
that.
was my mic on, by the way?
Sorry, we didn't catch any of that. Can you repeat it?
Start from the beginning. Yeah. That's right.
That was great. I love it. I saw I had a quick glance at your LinkedIn post. I didn't have a chance. I have to go back and actually put a remark on there. I was just lurking it, but I was like, oh, that's a great idea. I could totally see you doing that. And I know you've done different things in the past that are like that. So that totally fits your personality, and a great learning experience too, right? Even if, at the very least, it'd be a good learning experience for sure.
Yeah.
I'm gonna skip around here. I go, Mark, you posted on your new website, so I'm gonna give you a chance to walk through it. Do you want to share a screen or talk about it? I do like the photo, Vanessa. You're right. It's a great shot, man. Is that in the cotton factory, or it looks like
no, that's actually it's a great opportunity to talk about somebody else. The photo was taken by Marta Hewson, and Marta is a wonderful photographer who, if you look on our site in our sort of team segment, we really highlight our collaborators, and we're building that out over time. But we have links that go directly to the websites of the people we work with. And Marta is a wonderful fashion photographer. She and her partner Gerald have just recently launched the Revival, which is an art store and artist community that's on Cannon, just off of Ottawa Street. So if you're in downtown Hamilton, and it's just a beautiful space. She has her photo studio, and it's great. I think that ultimately they'll have it licensed, and they've got a barista. They're doing coffees and things, and it's just a beautiful store. So if you get a chance to check it out.
That is so Hamilton. I mean, there's so many unique little businesses and storefronts in Hamilton that you don't see anywhere else. It's really unusual, but that's cool. That sounds really cool. So,
one of the things that was great about it is that Curry's was the last remaining art store that we had, and they had their doors locked and they were gone. And so that was part of their inspiration is, Gerald's an artist himself and is tied into the community. And sort of went, somebody's got to do it. And I love those people who go, maybe it'll be me. So
I love that. So I remember Curry's, man. I my first diploma is in art. I did Sheridan College. I was actually back there with my son Harper to check out the school, and then walk by the illustration studio where they still have the same. I don't know if you guys are not going to know what it is. Mark will know. Donkeys, the donkeys that you draw and paint on.
yes,
You flip at different angles and stuff like that. They
Yes.
still had those, and there they had all the artwork in the walls. And it was like it was a real, like, that illustration program I took was a very competitive program, like thousands, used to be at least 1,000 people applying for 300 positions. And it was really hard to get into. And then your ultimate thing is getting a piece of your artwork displayed along that hallway there. So there's some really good artwork there. But yeah, I love that she's taking that on, because we'd hang out and we'd be at the Curry's art store all the time. And there's other ones too. I can't remember the other names, but just trying to find the best, because you had to buy all this paint and stuff and all that. So good one.
Yeah, we used to have Rapid Graphic downtown, which previously was Rapid Blueprint. Like, that's really going back. And I know Dave Currick still has some art supplies at his. It's more of a bookshop in Westdale.
Oh, nice.
But
Nice.
but yeah, this is I don't know. I think that it's good timing. So
And the new website, any positioning changes or just a new site? Like, anything else changed about the business that spurred it on?
yeah, we rebranded sort of the beginning of the year, and inevitably the last thing to actually get done was to launch the website, because rather than just putting our new logo on the old site, we just thought, let's just wait until we can do it properly. The website now articulates our sort of more focused approach to what we're doing. It's brand first marketing, and it's been really helpful just from the standpoint that if you tell people you do a whole bunch of different things, people's eyes kind of glaze over, right? Like, if we always were a sort of a full service agency, even though we're small. Whatever a client needed, we could figure out how to do it, and that included editing videos and directing videos, things like that. But that's not our core focus. And so the website now really, I think, does a better job of helping people understand why they would want to potentially work with us. As with anything, the more specific you get, the more that you might not get as many inquiries potentially. But so far, it's been the opposite. We're getting people contacting us for the right reasons.
Oh, I love it. That's a great reason to, and the website kind of makes it public. All of a sudden, you're like, at the end of the journey.
Yeah, it was also a great opportunity to sort of clean up a site that had been, it'd been 10 years, 12 years old, and continually worked on. But over time, you introduce a lot of bloat, and there's a lot of legacy stuff. I always did a good job of staying on top of broken backlinks and things like that, just the basics. But it was really nice to start with a new WordPress platform, and I think the site speed really increased as a result. So
nice.
And you get a chance to go, ooh, did we really write that blog? I still have some of the old ones on, but they're more just nostalgic, if you will.
Nice. I like that.
And
Vanessa,
occasionally you have occasionally you have old content, which still somehow ends up getting
resonates
traffic. And so you go, like, do I really want to throw it out just because it's old? No, sometimes it's worth hanging on to.
Yeah, or refurbishing too, modernizing or whatever. I like that. Yeah. Vanessa, how's your year? What's
I just wanted to just something that Mark said just struck me is that I think I find this with clients too, that often they're really scared of like narrowing their audience because they want to appeal to everybody, and in which case they end up appealing to no one. So I feel like it is scary to really like be specific about the types of clients you want, but then as a result, if you do it well, you get the right people instead of a lot of the wrong people. So kudos to you, and the site looks great.
Thank you.
Yeah, I feel like this year has been good. I feel like there's a couple of things I've worked on. I've really tried as much as I can to kind of build my personal brand, even though I hate the whole concept of it. So I've been doing a lot of like speaking and workshops. I did a workshop at McMaster a month ago. I spoke at Mohawk. I've done workshops with Innovation Factory and the city of Hamilton. So I've been trying to get my name out that way. It hasn't led directly to business. Like I think it's kind of, like I think it's a good exposure for me, and to be able to say I've like worked with those organizations. But I'm definitely trying to do more work with McMaster and kind of educational institutions, just because I feel like there's an opportunity, but also I'm very interested in what they're doing. Like there's a new Center for Entrepreneurship at McMaster. They're actually building like a whole huge building to support it. So I've been meeting with the person who's running that. And I'm going to actually write a feature on him for Hamilton City Magazine, which I'm pretty excited about. So that's kind of the one thing. I was really reluctant when I started out. Like I was like, I don't want to have my picture taken. I don't want to talk. I don't want to do any of that. And I realized you kind of have to, in a way, just to continue to network and build out your brand. The other thing I've been doing this year is kind of taking on more like a management role with projects. So instead of just doing the copy, I've actually been working a lot with Dave and doing the design with him on a lot of things. And that's been nice because it's like a value add to my clients where they don't have to go find a designer. I can just do the project management and then send them like a final document that's like all managed under one supplier. So that's been kind of cool and also kind of great for my portfolio. Because one thing I find is like sometimes with clients, they'll invest in copy. They almost have like budget for one thing. They either invest in design and do their own copy, or they invest in copy and do their own design. Never looks amazing. Or it sounds good, but then it doesn't look great, or vice versa. So it's nice with Dave because he does excellent work. And so like the stuff that we've been making has looked amazing. And so it's really nice because I'm like, oh, I'm like very proud to put that in my portfolio. So that's been kind of nice. And I'm hoping to do more of that next year, like have kind of, I don't want to like scale to an agency or anything, but just be able to do certain things where I can manage the process kind of just by myself with a partner.
I like that you've done a lot of speaking engagements. You're really good at it. So like, I think that makes sense for you. There's certain things that just sort of kind of fit personalities and skill sets and whatnot. So that makes total sense. And I like the idea of partnering up with Dave. So it looks good, sounds good. I think that's a great message.
Yeah.
Dave is fantastic.
Oh, no.
Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, he is good. He's easy to work with for sure.
Yep.
Go ahead, Christina.
Okay, so where is my head going for next year? I would say, and obviously I know we've talked about AI ad nauseum in this thing, but I think encapsulating kind of my AI search offering is something. Like I do some AI search consulting, but I haven't necessarily put that into sort of a package form. So I think that's kind of one thing. Launching that logo and website that I was speaking about with Marta is a big thing for me. And then I guess figuring out balance, because I'm also going to be outside of all the digital work that I do. I'm going to be taking on a role with my husband's company, just helping to lead some operations there, probably about 10, 15 hours a week. So I think it's figuring out just balance of everything and potentially outsourcing some work and whatnot. So I think there's a lot on the go, but it's good. Oh, I think you're on mute, Richard.
You're muted.
It's good. I wasn't saying anything of any value anyhow. So it's good. I got to retry. Thanks. No, it's good. So that relationship with Marta probably, did that help fine tune any of that direction, or did that?
Yeah, no, you know what? Honestly, I think it was great. It's like, yeah, she does amazing work. So it definitely helped. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's something about focusing on you got to focus on yourself going through that process. Manu, do you got time to kick off yours before you go?
Yeah, I guess very quickly, for me, I guess I've kind of come to this realization that the clients you want won't come to you. You've got to actually go to them. So I've been thinking the past 3-4 months, where are they, right? The type of clients I'm looking for. And I realized I've been kind of playing around this wrong sandboxes. So my whole networking approach and the people that I am associating myself with is completely shifting, and for the better. And I just kind of wish I knew this, 3 years ago when I started my business, but better late than ever. And I guess that's my biggest takeaway for the year.
Yeah, I like that. So it's a good realization too. I mean, it's good good what you're doing and stuff like that. So what's what's the key? What was the key trigger for that? You think? What, like, and, oh, sorry. The one thing too is going after the clients. I mean, that's for some people it's flipping. It's scary, right? We'd rather wait and see who comes to us. But I think that's 100% accurate. Like, if I want to work with this person, I need to instigate it. I need to move myself towards it. I think that was a brilliant find. So what kicked that off?
Well, firstly, I'm very shameless. I don't care what people think about me.
Yeah, no, I have to be. Yeah.
I really don't give a shit. So that's number one. But number two, but having said that, I don't chase clients. I never.
Yeah.
If I send out a quote, I'll never email them back saying, "Hey, I sent you a quote. What do you think about it?" Right? I don't do that. If you don't like it, go away. Right? But having said that, like, for example, in the beginning, I was trying to help people, right? And I've come to this realization: you can't help people if they don't want to be helped. If they want help, they'll come to you eventually, right? So I just was very immature mindset that I had, that I want to go out and help people, which is so childish. So now what am I doing is I'm shifting to people who genuinely want the help, and those people that genuinely want the help are those who've actually accomplished something. They've realized that, hey, we've accomplished it, but not through our own efforts, by collaboration with other people. So they understand the value of having the right people around them. So having said that, now where are those people who've accomplished things, right? And they're not really hanging out at BNI or other, mixers and diners or whatever. Like, they're at golf courses, and they're at, these other events that are happening that are kind of pricier, but that's where they are, right? So I kind of think to myself, why not go there instead?
So Michael E. Chin was talking about background context. Michael E. Chin owned, at the time, was AIC. He sold it to Manulife, and now he's Portland Investments. He's one of the Canadian billionaire kind of thing, right? And one of the things he said at the beginning, this is a lot of guy that, talk about risk aversion, no issues with risk. He said exact same thing. I want to be supporting the rich people. He went out and immediately bought himself a Rolls Royce. And if you think, like, oh my God, but that's Michael E. Chin in a nutshell, right? And then he would always fly first class, regardless if he could afford it or not, because of who he potentially could sit beside, and started moving himself in that. And eventually it worked. He became the individual he was searching to work with. So it's an interesting story.
Very quick story. A good friend of mine, he came from India to Canada. I was 24 years old, right? He came from here. He says, you know what? I don't have the resources to go to school. I'm just going to work. He started working, got a job in a bank. And then from there, he got into money lending. And from there, he's like, you know what? I'm going to start my own brokerage. And he didn't know anyone. He was, new to the country, had no contacts. He was 2 years in. And he started his own brokerage firm, lending out money. And then what did he do is kind of similar to this guy. He joined this networking group where there's like high-end CEOs, and the monthly fee to get in is $3,000 a month. It's insane, right? So this guy actually slept in his car for a few months just to kind of make ends meet and pay this $3,000. But today, 8 years later, right, he's amongst all my friends, he's the wealthiest guy. He's the wealthiest amongst all of us, like the cars and the houses and everything. It's insane, right? He's self-made man in 8 years. But we have this fear, this roadblock of wanting to go there. We want it, but we're scared to go there, right?
Yeah.
It's getting over that hump is really what stops us.
Yeah, I was reading an article. It was, and this guy he does work with mergers and acquisitions. It said like 30,000 individuals he's worked with over the years. And I'm going to get it wrong, but he had picked out two personalities. He does DISC. Eric, you've done DISC before, if you guys know that. Yeah, see you, Manu. I'll just keep the conversation going on Manu's behalf. But he found two personalities that fit the successful business owner and put those together. And one of those is this comfort. What was he said? It was those that can see something wrong in the world and want to do something about it and know they can do something about it. It was one of the key things that I remember from reading that blog post. So it's like it's not a skill set everybody. Like, there's no way in hell you'd ever catch me doing that kind of risk that Manu was describing. No way in hell. But it just wouldn't suit me. I'd probably die from anxiety, right? So but it's interesting. Yeah. Dorothy, I got you laughing, so you're next.
Yeah, yeah, I can see that. Using the gym shower, Richard. Okay, you know what? My year was something else. So when I have to talk about the business and the nonprofit because man, oh man. So for me, the year was I got some really good speaking opportunities and to be on some panels. For me, it's all about the credibility, elevating, and so on. So that actually led me into starting a LinkedIn Live with Yvette, which you met recently. You know, Richard and Marta. So we do a LinkedIn Live every Thursday, and we talk about AI and that kind of stuff. So that again gives me some presence and also provides content. So that was pretty useful for me. The other thing that for this year I dove into was I served some nonprofits, and so that has now led me to starting to offer services to nonprofits, because nonprofits who get grants. So let me just clarify that again. The right person, right organization, they need to have grants in order to pay me. And then that is out of the deep knowledge that I have in the nonprofit space, the fact that I operate in it every single day. So that was also a good opportunity for me, and I built out some automations for them. So that was pretty good. The other thing that I had been carrying forward was this personal site, that was pretty much now done. And for even my site is launching my assistant, AI Anya, my voice assistant, which I'm very proud of. That is super cool. I think it's super cool. So anybody wants to test out, you can go. It's just really cool. So that was it for me. But in terms of that's on the business side. The nonprofit also supported the business as well, because we were able, you talk about the give back and the mentorship. We got students, university students, who were able not only to hire, but to mentor. So now that is an opportunity to mentor the next generation using the skill set that I have. And the other thing that the nonprofit does for me is to keep me really abreast with some cool technologies that are out there. So for us, there is, the peer-to-peer fundraising technology, which usually catapults us to the next level. And people are always looking at us and saying, oh, you're using this technology, you're using that thing. What is it that you're doing? We want that. So that again goes to the perception that we're on the cutting edge, the bleeding edge. I'm part of that cutting edge, bleeding edge. So those are some of the things that I like. And the other thing with those grants is a breakthrough to that we can get funding from the government of Canada. So that was a big thing for me, because now, again, it goes back to the credibility of the organization. And I'm typically in the forefront writing those grants. So it's affirming, it's a confidence booster that, to Manu's point, if we want something, we just simply need to go after it. Because one of the things that I've recognized is that it takes as much effort to go after the 6-figure client as it does the 4 or the 3-figure client. So it's just as much effort. And for that reason, I have somewhat shifted as well, where my language is now and positioning is around working with seasoned business owners, because they already have built something that is profitable, hopefully, or they've built something that's of substance, and they already understand what it takes to be successful. All they want now is that extra guidance and push to get them to the next level. And that's where I use the AI to get them there. So I think those are some of the key things for me as it relates to next year. And for December, something I just read today, and I'd like to pass it on to all of you, is that December is an opportunity for us not to finish strong, but to start the next year, the new year, stronger by starting to position yourself for opportunities. And I can tell you that's exactly what has happened to me. I've already had 2 opportunities to speak for next year, and those have come to me. So now, for me, that is now going after some of those opportunities more aggressively.
I'm gonna let Eric started things off, and he's gonna wrap things off. But some good points in there, Dorothy. Thanks for sharing. A lot of challenges that you put yourself under and got benefit from and have grown from. So congratulations. Go ahead, Eric.
Yeah, I mean, I'll try to be quick here. There's so many good things and so many parallels. But I started my practice in January of this year. So this year has been about experimentation and learning. But I've, in some ways, from the business perspective, we've very much been honing and realizing we've got to continue to move up market. And Dorothy, you said it well, right? So focusing on, I've been having a lot of fun in the scaling community, but I need to work with organizations that have a foundation in place that they need to grow and optimize, right? So one thing I've been doing is compartmentalize that. Have fun at the tech TO events and stuff, talking to, scaling founders and, 3 guys and a dog in the basement starting something up, but really focus my practice around those that have a function in place that I can help them professionalize. But within that, I've also been doing things that get me excited. Like I got certified to deliver the DISC assessments. So I see that as a big part of my talent agenda within the go-to-market and sales function, helping teams work better together, helping leaders pick better salespeople, things like that. And then lastly, just leaning in and doing as many podcasts I can do. So I did a couple early in the year, and I'm working on a few more. And I love that stuff. I just think it's so much fun. Just riffing on things, being real, sharing stories. And we're working on one right now that we're going to do in January. That's going to be about unpacking the whole growth. Who owns growth? Marketing, sales, or client success? And how do you actually pivot and work together, divide and conquer, and all that? So anyway, love that stuff. And I think it was Dorothy that said, now's the time not just to kind of high five each other and yourself, but start thinking about, take a well-earned breath and think about next year. And that's what I'm doing too. It's these next 2 weeks is I'm just kind of giving myself permission just to, brainstorm and kind of think about things and, and a blank sheet of paper and not feel pressured to get something done, right? I'm just going to unpack the year and think about January. So
there's something about having nothing to do that allows your brain to reflect and grow. Like how I went to a really busy period the last 3 weeks, and then this weekend was the first time to kind of take a breath, and hence why I was working on other things, because I didn't have a chance. But it was something about I sit in a different spot. I don't sit here in my office. I sit somewhere else in the house.
Yeah.
I drink a fancy coffee or whatever, and then it's just like there's that freedom of emptiness in there that helps to come up with new ideas. And I really like all the different challenges that you guys have put in like reflecting and growing. Manu put it so directly, childish or whatever. Like I totally see when you jump in for a new business, I want to help people, I want to help everybody, but you just can't, right? Unfortunately, you need to get paid. Well, fortunately, you need to get paid, right? I think you were talking about grants, Dorothy. The very first client I had going on my own was an old client of mine that I had from web development years, and she had a grant. I almost talked her out of hiring me because I was so shocked how much she was willing to give me. And it turned out I did way more than what it cost, but it was just like I just didn't have the right mindset to take it on. And I think that's a good learning lesson that Manu has, and Dorothy, just moving and realizing, what, if the people are paying for it out of their own wallet, it's an incredibly difficult decision. If they're paying through their business and the earnings of their business, the cash flow of their business, is not the same type of decision they're making. And those are the type of people we need to work with. So 100%. This has been great, guys. I appreciate you guys sharing transparently with me, and then it's been a great growth year for me. So I appreciate you guys coming along for the ride. Thanks.
Awesome.
Have a great year.
Happy holidays, everyone.
Thank you.
Guys.
Bye.
Happy holidays.
Bye now.